This generation is leading the country to understand that there is still a lot of work to be done. We were very fortunate. Both of our parents went to college. I'm here. I'm the oldest of three girls, not 3 years older than the third. They had them one right after the other. Wow. That's Eleanor, that's Portia, and that's the baby Nellie. And this is my father, Coleman Sterling Holmes.
Eleanor credits him and her mother, Vila, for refusing to shield their daughters, but teach them to understand the system of segregation and that something had to be done to end it.
Well, I'm a third-generation Washingtonian who grew up in a segregated Washington. We were raised to understand that this was a city that was conscious of segregation and what it meant and where it came from. It really prepared me for the civil rights movement.
By the time Eleanor enrolled in Antioch College, she was ready to do the work.
Its social atmosphere was exactly what I needed coming out of the District of Columbia, and it helped prepare me to understand that the way to become engaged in the civil rights movement was to go on to become a lawyer, and that's when I went to law school.
A movement the Yale law student eagerly jumped into as a member of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
Oh, I was aching to get to the South, and not just to the South, but to the hardcore part of the South, the Mississippi Delta. Greenwood, Mississippi, that's where I experienced the most perhaps searing moments of my life in the civil rights movement.
Searing moments being told NAACP leader Medgar Evers was assassinated the day after he dropped her off at the bus station to go to Winona, Mississippi. Eleanor was on a mission to bail out civil rights activists Lawrence Guyot and Fannie Lou Hamer from jail.
I asked to see Lawrence Guyot and Miss Hamer, and what I saw was what I will never forget. Lawrence Guyot had been beat so badly that he had to put a sheet around him in order to come out in the first place. Other blacks were forced to beat him. Miss Hamer had herself been beat terribly by these trustees as well. I mean, I remember I'm in Mississippi 48 hours maybe, and seeing Mississippi at its worst. Well, I mean, this was the summer of my life. I got word that the March on Washington was being organized and that I could help. And so I flew to New York to help organize the March on Washington for part of that same summer. Bayard Rustin was the organizer of the March on Washington. I'm a mignon in this. He may have been the only person, black or white, who could have organized a mammoth March on Washington. Though we did not know for sure. We knew many buses we had organized. We'd organized people come from trains. But would they come, and what would they do when they got there? I flew from New York to Washington. And flying over and looking out the window, I knew that the march would be an extraordinary success because I could see people lining up early in the morning all over Washington, raring to go. That was a sight to behold. We weren't just marching. Out of it came the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, exquisitely important, and ultimately the 1968 Fair Housing Act. I'm in this book with people like Angela Davis.
And like the title of the book, she still dreams of a more just world. But now for her, the fight is in the halls of Congress, advocating for district residents she represents. The years on the battlefield for equality have taught her that today's activists must be focused and steadfast.
The Montgomery bus boycott, in a real sense, was a precipitating event for the civil rights movement. The killing of George Floyd was a precipitating event for the movement we see now. You do not get change in this country. It's too diverse, it's too big, unless you work hard for it. I'm very proud of the young activists of the day. You've got to seize the issues of your time and move with them.